Well, we are all back on again on that Wolong Fallen Dynasty for the second DLC drop. But more importantly, on this new longsword weapon they added because I know everyone is interested in seeing if it's truly worth all the hype that we've been seeing. But before we get into the video, let me know about your guys' thoughts in the comments down below on this new weapon type, along with the DLC as a whole. Do you think it's a step in the right direction for the future of Wolong? Or do you think this is a bust just like the last DLC? Me personally, I've been enjoying it a lot. And sorry if I seem a bit rusty in some of these clips, I haven't really played the game in about 3 months maybe? Let alone PvP in maybe 4-5 months alone, so I may seem a little meh in some of these clips. But anyways, starting off with my thoughts on the weapon for PvP, first off, it's not like insanely different feel like it was with the Cestus, but that's not really a bad thing. It's already similar to the one-handed sword weapon types in the game, so it has that same feel that you're used to whenever it comes to combat. So jumping in with this weapon feels kind of natural and at home, so it makes sense. But that doesn't mean, oh, so it's just a reused weaponry, just bigger. I thought that's what it was going to be, but no. It's actually still very unique in its own special little ways for sure. The weapon is very fast despite its large size, so it tends to throw off opponents a bit, along with its running attack, which is like a thrust rather than a swipe, so it comes out faster than expected, catching enemies either mid-dodge or before they even get a chance to dodge. Moving on from that, all the martial arts on the weapons are actually pretty strong, especially at clearing out your opponent's NPCs, if they have them. They have wide, fast swinging attacks capable of hitting multiple enemies in the very same hit, with very powerful but easy to deflect if you're only using them against the host. So I personally would try and avoid just using them against other players, definitely more so use them to clear out NPCs. There's one very unique martial art that you can actually get with this weapon, which basically does a parry and riposte into one. If your opponent hits you as you press this martial art, you will slice with one series of like little slashes after one big one, and it will do a pretty decent amount of damage. But with the desync from the servers, it's kind of awkward to actually land on players, so I'd more so say this is powerful in PvE. But the big main thing is definitely that charge attack that it has. The spirit attack or the heavy charge attack, it is strong, but it is still a spirit attack and has multiple hits to it, so it can be deflected mid-action even after hitting someone with it, since the second, they get hit, they're free to deflect spam, only allowing the first maybe second hit to actually connect, and then the last few will always just get deflected. Which that's more along on the Wolong side, not really the weapon's fault, just something that I wanted to point out. Like, I think if it's a multi-hit, you should be stuck in that hit. Not being able to deflect all the other hits after you get hit by the first one, because then there's no punishment or like anything to being missing a timing or a dodge or whatever. But again, that's my personal gripe, has nothing to do with the sword. Okay, anyways, the main point, even though I didn't use it too much in this video, is actually just the basic attack charge. It does this long-range thrust move where you can hold the attack for however long you want, making your opponent usually spam dodge trying to predict your attack, but you can just infinitely hold it until they panic spam their way all the way out of stamina, and then you can just thrust into them doing massive damage and possibly knocking them out of stamina to get a big fat riposte. Something that is really nice about the weapon is that the range on the attack is always underestimated by opponents since it goes pretty far. And even if it's not just the blade, the air shot from the end of the sword will actually catch them with some decent chip damage. I think the basic attack charge is definitely the most notable thing about this weapon for PvP, and if you connect the hits with the sword, then it just grants you a ton of blue positive spirit for your gauge to build up. So spamming it is actually really easy to do since being like out of stamina is like never a case with this weapon. If you're deflecting and then hitting people with that charge attack right after a deflect, you just do so much damage, keep up your entire spirit bar, it's actually kinda nutty. And of course, as I stated in my previous guide video on the longsword, be sure to check that out. I'm gonna have the video linked in the description down below. While charging, you are able to dodge and deflect, and if you score a deflect when charging, it instantly puts you in that level 2 charge state, allowing you to smash down on your opponent for huge damage. But I will say it is definitely a lot harder to do in PvP because you have to deal with multiple players or players with their 2 NPCs, so you can get interrupted or mess up a deflect and lose your charge. But in a 1v1 scenario, it can definitely be very useful there. Most players tend to dodge spam trying to get away from your charge attack, I've noticed, since they don't want to predict the attack itself. But every once in a while you will get those people who will come in, trying to attack, then you get that satisfying deflect into a charge attack, and it just feels so perfect to get that off. Overall, I do think that this is my new favorite weapon for PvP. It fits my playstyle perfectly. It has fast attacks, high damage, with a mind game mix-up, so it's like the perfect 10 out of 10 weapon for PvP in my opinion. As for PvE, if you saw my last video going over how to actually use the weapon, you'll know it's absolutely amazing to fight bosses and even mobs with no problem. The charge up can be kind of meh against bosses who attack a lot. Then they just kind of stagger you and then they might just swing spam through your dodges. You just won't get a chance to ever get a charge attack off. But that's not the end all be all for the weapon. Just because you can't get off some charge attacks on a boss very well, it doesn't mean the weapon's completely useless. It's still fast and very high damaging, so even just using it as a normal weapon, as long as you're good at deflecting, you'll be able to fight bosses no problem regardless. But anyways, that is all of my thoughts on the weapon itself. Let me know what you guys think about it. Are you enjoying the weapon? Do you think it is very fun, or do you think it is still kind of like too similar to the base game's weapons? But okay, anyways, I'm heading out now, so you guys enjoy the rest of these PvP clips, and have a good one. Peace.